Hey everyone, Joe Soto here. And on a previous video, I shared what my top 5 advertising books were of all time. And now I'm going to share what my top 5 copywriting books are of all time. Now there is some crossover. Of course, I couldn't recommend, David Ogilvy's books, Ogilvy on Advertising and Confessions of an Advertising Man. Those are must-read books, in my opinion, for anybody who's in advertising and marketing. But in terms of copywriting, if you had to kind of single out copywriting as a subject, what would be my top favorite books? So here they are. So first, my first couple of recommendations are more for the beginner, somebody who's like really just trying to get an overall, overarching understanding of copywriting books, or copywriting. My first is How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards. And the reason why I'm recommending this one, now stay with me for those of you who are expecting certain books, but this book it's very thin and it's easy to read. It's about 150 pages. And to me, it kind of covers all the basics and it lays the groundwork. So for people who come onto my team, this would be the first book I would give them if they're still not that experienced in copywriting, or they just haven't really thought about the structure of good copywriting, good headlines, good hooks, good storytelling, etc. So it says the step-by-step system for more sales to more customers more often than great copy in and of itself. But and Michael Hyatt says he's the best. Ray Edwards is the best copywriting teacher that he knows. Ray does a really good job of explaining his strategies and techniques in this book. So this is a go-to book. It's a must-have for the beginner. Then one of my favorite classic books, a little older book. This one was written, more in recent years. This one was written a long time ago. It's called How to Write a Good Advertisement, a short course in copywriting by Victor Schwab. And he's a classic ad man. And this book was written, I don't know how long ago. My gosh, this book was written 1962. It was originally written, but. This is the complete definitive guide. What I love about this book is it simplifies thinking about writing ad copy. So if you write advertising copy, now How to Write Copy That Sells is a great copywriting book for just about anything that you're doing. How to Write a Good Advertisement really is centered around how to write good ads. But it's about the copywriting behind and the insight and the psychology that goes into that. So I would encourage you to pick up a copy of How to Write a Good Advertisement. Yes, it was written a long time ago. Dan Kennedy, who wrote the No BS series books, one of the best top people in the direct response, direct mail industry and category, recommended this book at one of his super conferences. And when I got it, I was so pleased with the insight that I was able to gain from this. So I love this book. It's been on my bookshelf for a long time, and I recommend it to everyone. One of my all-time favorites, though, is the Adweek Copywriting Handbook by Joseph Sugarman. So Joseph Sugarman is he's an icon in the marketing field when it comes to online advertising and offline advertising and copywriting. So if you're looking for like the course on copywriting, like everything from A to Z that you possibly could ever want to learn about copywriting, this was one of the first books. It actually used to go by a different name, and that name's escaping me. I have the other copy of this, but they changed the name when Adweek picked up the rights to the book. So it's called the Adweek Copywriting Handbook, and it's really good. But it's it's like a manual on copywriting, and it's for somebody who's taking it more seriously and really wants to hone their skills in copywriting, which I think is one of the most important skills you can learn because it's really just selling in writing. Now, for those of you that want to be real serious and you want to deep dive into the world of copywriting, my advice to you would be to start studying people that were the original copywriting masters, where their copywriting strategies and techniques, because it's all based on psychology, it's all based on how we behave and how we interpret information and how we take stuff in. If you want to become a great marketing mind and you want to influence people through web copy and through email, and you want to influence people through your advertising, you just want to get a better understanding of how to write in a way that's more persuasive, then I would encourage you to do a deep dive into some of the classics that are out there. And so a couple of them that are my favorites. One is the Robert Collier book. Robert Collier, this is a big book full of sales letters. And it's probably one of the best books ever written on sales letters in and of itself, teaching you how to write online sales copy. It's all transferable to the internet, by the way. I mean, his copy doesn't change and humans don't change necessarily. And if you want to learn from somebody who literally, you know, placed hundreds of millions of dollars in his clients' pockets, then this is a good book to start with, the Robert Collier letter book. So it's just packed full of letters. It even says here, as every great copywriter knows, these techniques are directly transferable to the internet, which whether through web copy, email, or whatever, this book earned Robert the distinction of being one of the greatest marketing minds in history. So good, deep dive into copy, and if you want to study copywriting, you want to get that book. And then one of my all-time favorites, maybe the favorite book I have on my bookshelf on copywriting is the Boron letters. The Boron letters, I'm not even sure how it's pronounced, but Gary Halbert is probably considered the best copywriter ever. There's several people that are really good at copy. You know, people like Frank Kern study people like Gary Halbert, and I would encourage you to do the same. It's not a very big book, but you know, it's one of those books that you're going to mark up, and it's full of incredible sales letters in and of itself, with lots of annotations and dialogue about what makes certain techniques and strategies work. But I would say, you know, those last two books are for the serious student. For those of you that really want to master copywriting, you know, there's always something to learn. Every time I pick these books up and reread different parts of it, or reread different sales letters to get some influence or some insight, I learn something new. So hopefully this helps you, and I look forward to hearing what your favorite copywriting books are that you would add to this list.